What's up, everybody? This is the TB3 Sports Talk Podcast, episode 93, also known as the Will Hates Everything Show, the Will Show. It's just me. I'm riding solo dolo. My two compadres are not with me this week. Colby's enjoying vacation. I think Joel got traded in the trade deadline, so I think we got maybe some cash considerations for him. So unfortunately, it's just me, guys. It's just me, whether you like it or you hate it. Man, big news to talk about. I feel like we had to get a show in because just all the stuff that went down. The Rays obviously have been battling, trying to stay alive in the playoff race. And the big news, the trade deadline happened yesterday. We're filming today on a Friday. Trade deadline happened yesterday. Rays made a bunch of moves. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to give you my thoughts, give you my takes on it, give a couple grades out, and recap the week. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it. The Rays had a weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds, and to summarize it for you, they got swept. Don't want to talk about it. We're going to go into the Yankees series, though. The Rays had a 4-game series against the Yankees starting Monday on the 28th. These are very important games. Obviously, you're playing a division rival, and it's a win-now situation. At least at the time, it was too, because you're looking to buy at the deadline. You're looking to get some more guys to help make that playoff push. The more losses you get in that, it would certainly not do well for them. Obviously, we know what happens, but we're just going to recap it anyway here. It was Drew Rasmussen playing Clark Schlittler against the Yankees on Monday. It started off with a Junior Caminero home run in the top of the first to give the Rays a 2-0 lead. But then in the bottom of the first, Jazz Chisholm would draw a walk from Drew Rasmussen after the bases were loaded, and it would be 2-1, and then another walk with Ryan McMahon to make it 2-2. Then in the top of the fifth, though, Josh Lowe would get a huge single to center, and Yandy Diaz would score to make it 3-2. And in the top of the eighth, Yandy Diaz would hit a sac fly where Jose Caballero scored. And that was all she wrote. The Rays were able to hold it down and win that game 4-2. A couple notes on the game. It just started off hot there. Junior Caminero, huge home run. And, Drew Rasmussen did struggle, did give up a couple walks there in the bottom of the first, but he really locked in. He would retire 12 of his last 13 batters. Overall, the bullpen looked solid too for the first time in a while, especially I think headlined by Edwin Uceda getting 2 shutout innings, something really huge. The Rays would get their win 4-2. Would that bode well for the rest of the series? Unfortunately, no. As we get to July 29th for the second game of the series against the Yankees. And it just wasn't pretty from the start. As my iPad's taking a load here, just get the recap. But yeah, we had Max Fried going for the Yankees against Joe Boyle. He's been moved around a bunch. He came up for a spot start a long time ago, looked phenomenal. Then he kind of went to a reliever role, a bulk innings kind of guy. But then he's finally into the starting rotation since Taj Bradley was sent down to AAA. And it started off good again. Top of the first, Johnny DeLuca would get a triple where Yandy Diaz and Jonathan Aranda would score to go up 2-0. And then top of the third, Jonathan Aranda would get a huge home run, 403 feet to go up 3-0. But then it fell apart for Joe Boyle. Cody Bellinger would hit a 3-run shot to tie up the game. Bottom of the fourth, Anthony Volpe would get a single, and Jason Dominguez would score on that to take the lead. Bottom of the fourth, it continued. A throwing error, and the Yankees would get another run. Then Goldschmidt would single, and the Yankees would go up 6-3 there. But the Rays kept fighting, top of the 7. Taylor Walls would get a double, and Nick Fortes would score to cut the lead to 2. But in the bottom of the 8th, Anthony Volpe, man, somehow playing out of his mind this game, would get a solo homer in the bottom of the 8th to go up 7-4. Rays would try to come back in the top of the 9th. They would score a run on a fielder's choice to make it 7-5. Anthony Volpe had an error in that inning too, but it just wasn't enough. The Rays would lose this game 7-5. So I think, the big takeaway from this game, really, Boyle just didn't have a great start. But I think, the excuse for him is he's been moved around a bunch. He's gone back and forth from AAA up to the big leagues. He was a reliever. Now he's, trying to get a hold of going, on a set day now. Now he knows when he's going. I think he even say he looks forward to that, kind of being more a starter role, knowing when you're going, not kind of going in on the spur of the moment, as you know how it is, the life of a reliever. But yeah, first time in the starting rotation, not good. 3.1 innings pitched, 6 runs, 4 of them were earned, 4 hits, 3 walks. I'd like to see something better from him. We would like to see him produce more solid outing. Going 3-1 is not good, but I have faith in him. I have faith in him. He's looked good all season. So, just getting used to the swing of things. But the series is tied 1-1. We go to July 30th, where this game again did not go in the Rays' favor. It would go into extras, but just wasn't the Rays' night, and it was primarily on the bullpen. But to start the game, Zach Littell. Who would have thought what would happen after this one? Zach Littell, possibly at the time his last start as a Tampa Bay Ray, going against Will Warren. And the Rays, again, something we've seen this series, they would score first. Brandon Lau would get a double, and Taylor Walls would score for a 1-0 lead. And that would be the score until the bottom of the 8th, when the Rays bullpen was starting to cause some troubles. Trent Grisham will get a solo shot to make it 1-1, and then Stanton will get a single where Peraza would score. The Yankees would go up 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th. And then top of the 9th, Josh Lowe playing some hero ball, a 2-run homer. The Rays regain the lead 3-2. Pete Fairbanks comes in the bottom of the 9th, and Anthony Volpe would tie the game with a solo shot. That inning could have gone even longer. But who was it? It was Austin Wells. Didn't know how many outs there were, so they kind of got a free out there to send it into extras. And then top of the 10th, the Rays are scoring. Jonathan Aranda hits a sac fly with the bases loaded to make it 4-3 Rays. Was legitimately a foot away from a grand slam. That was probably the toughest part. Biggest what if of that game. Jason Dominguez struggled defensively all year and then comes up with the insane catch. I don't really know how to explain it. The stars just aligned for them. Volpe's hitting. Jason Dominguez is making defensive plays. I guess, there's a first time for everything. And unfortunately, it was to harm the Rays. And then, bottom of the 10th, we get back to it. The Yankees would tie it up on a Cody Bellinger triple to make it 4-4. Rays would not score in the top of the 11th. And all it took was 2 pitches from your boy, Kevin Kelly. Literally, I'm not making it up. 2 pitches. He goes in, decides he's going to intentionally walk Jason Dominguez. He has a big home run saving catch, so then it's like, well, maybe he might hit now. So there's a run on first and second. First pitch, balk. Runners to second and third. Next pitch, deep single, Ryan McMahon, ball game. I feel like it's really hard to do that, but all it took was 2 pitches, and the Rays would lose that game. But just to make matters worse, man, we're just looking at this 4 straight innings where the Rays blew lead, or blew the game, I guess, in the last one. But yeah, Baker, he was the culprit in the 8th. Fairbanks, the culprit of the 9th. Uceda, obviously, we mentioned in the 10th. And then, yeah, Kelly sells the game. Just a tough way to lose. A very tough way to lose. And after this game, I'm thinking it can't get any worse than that. It really can't. We've seen plenty of bullpen blunders. This by far was one of the worst in my opinion. And I thought surely, last game of the series Thursday, trade deadline, let's see if the Rays can make some magic. And unfortunately, this game was probably the worst one of them all. Man, I don't even want to talk about it, but, it's my job. It's my job to do it. But yeah, a nice 1 o'clock game for your Rays. Going up against the Yankees here. Ryan Pepiot against Marcus Stroman. Both have struggled. Stroman especially. You're just hoping the Rays can find something here to salvage the series. At least come away with a tied series. I would take that, honestly. I would take that, but it just wasn't meant to be. Ryan Pepiot from the gates, man. Gives up 3 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, so it's already 7-0. His stat line was 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 3 walks. And I think the worst part, you're losing 7-0, and before you even get to the fifth, Chandler Simpson goes down. Jonathan Aranda goes down. Yandy Diaz goes down. All injuries. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at the screen, and Jose Caballero's giving hugs in the dugout, saying his goodbyes. And that was, the first trade of the day for the Rays. We'll get to the other ones. But yeah, he gets traded to the team on the other side of the field, the New York Yankees. And it was just a whole lot of terrible events. Huge rain delay in that game. And with Caballero going and the 3 injuries that happened in this game, you got backup catcher Matt Dice coming in playing first base. And I was happy for that one to end as quickly as it did. The Rays will lose this game 7-4. Really just a bad Ryan Pepiot start. A lot of injuries, and I guess we'll get to that right now. Some good news. Yandy Diaz, he just had a right forearm contusion. And this is Friday. They are playing right now, and he did play. So that is good news for the Rays. Chandler Simpson, a left index finger sprain. He was considered day-to-day. He did not play tonight. I am filming right now, so if he came in to pitch hit, I did not see it, so please forgive me. But I think the Rays are hoping he'll be back sooner rather than later. But the worst news by far, Jonathan Aranda, a fractured wrist. He'll be out at least 3 weeks. But I think the good news out of all this is that he is hoping, and I think the Rays are hoping that he'll come back at the end of this year. But I don't know. Take that for what you will. If the Rays are, in the playoff picture towards the end of the season, maybe you see Aranda, maybe you see him. But if they continue to lose like they've been doing, probably out for the year, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. We'll obviously wait and see what they have to say, but yeah, I wouldn't want to risk him coming back and injuring it even more, especially if the season is a wrap. So keep an eye on that. So that was really your week. Losing 3 out of 4 to the Yankees, but I think the biggest news is the trades. What happened to the trades? Who'd the Rays trade? Who'd they get? What they do? They sellers, big time sellers like last year. What'd they do? But thankfully you're in the right place. TB3, we're going to give you all the information right here. And we'll start off with it. Started on Monday, the 28th, when they traded Danny Jansen to the Brewers for Jader Arenamo. I think with this one, this was not a good start to the week, I'd say, because I think everybody's kind of thinking they're sellers, but the move kind of makes sense to me. I mean, you look at Danny Jansen, his numbers aren't quite there as they were from a couple years ago. He's been batting .204 this season, and he started off terrible, right? Started off terrible this season, but even since kind of resurging and playing a lot better, that average is still at .232 since May 11th, so I wouldn't say that's necessarily a big jump. He is a rental too, and I think the biggest thing is that the defense, his framing isn't quite there. Just didn't have what the Rays were really looking for. Stinks it didn't work out, but you get this Jader Hermano guy from the Brewers. He's their number 24 prospect. He's 21 years old, but a lot of grades that came out during the middle of the season have him as high as 10. So this guy he's a dog. He can play shortstop. He can play third base. Right now in High A for the Brewers, he batting .297, 11 home runs, 51 RBIs, and a .818 OPS. One thing he's very aggressive at the plate. That might come to harm him, as he rises in the ranks of the minor league system as he faces some better pitching. But overall, this guy's a stud. I think this is a solid move, and it makes it even solider for what the Rays did on the same day when they traded outfielder Matthew Etzel, who came to us via the Zach Eflin trade last year, for catcher Nick Fortes, who you guys have seen this week, so isn't really any surprise to you, but this makes the Danny Jansen trade a lot better. Obviously, you get a guy who's younger, and he's under control until 2028, so the Rays have some time with him. If you look at his numbers, he's one of the best in the bigs for framing pitches. That's something that they didn't like about Danny Jansen, and they got to upgrade in that aspect. He's batting .231 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs this year. And, they're just hoping for some better defensive play from him. And, overall, I'm going to combine these two for a grade. I'm going to say it's a solid B+. You got a really good young prospect, and you're able to replace with a catcher. Not lose much, I think, with Matthew Etzel. I don't think the Rays are really losing much there. So B+ is my grade for this trade. And then on July 30th, right after a start, the Rays would trade Zach Littell for Brian Van Bell and pitcher Adam Serenowski from the Cincinnati Reds. But that wasn't all they were going to do, as they flipped Serenowski, Ben Rortvedt, and Paul Gervais to the Dodgers for catcher Hunter Fiducia. This one to me, we'll break down. I'll give you all the stats here. This one for me, to be honest, I'm not very happy with. So let's just start out with it. You trade Zach Littell. Obviously, he was a free agent at the end of this season. He's going to get a lot of money, most likely. But I just think, at least from a fan's perspective, right? This guy, he was not a starter. He was a reliever. The Rays turned him into a starter. And then I'd say, he did have some shaky moments at the start of this year, but overall the last 2 years, this guy has been one of your most solid guys. And honestly, I'd put him up as one of the better, fifth starters in the entire MLB. He's going to be consistent. He's going to get you three runs or less. He's going to keep you in ball games. If you give him run support, he's even that much better. I was kind of expecting a little higher return, and we'll get into the numbers. But I mean, obviously, you only really get one guy for him from the Reds with Brian Van Bell, because they flipped Adam Serenowski, who is a pitcher in the Red system, 10th rated prospect for them. He's a big guy, 6'5". Got some solid some pitching mechanics, but the knock on him, I guess, is he's not great with command, as a lot of taller pitchers are, and he's really got 2 pitches. He doesn't really have a strong third pitch, which is kind of scary for some teams. So you flip him. You flip him for catcher Hunter Fiducia. And, I mean, we'll see how it goes, man. I understand, there is some things with Saranowski, but maybe you keep him and see what you can do, especially with the Rays pitching coaches and how well they've done with these guys. Maybe you keep them, and maybe I'll be eating these words in a couple months or weeks. But let's get into Brian Van Belle here. He has yet to see MLB action. He's 28 years old. Not great stuff in my opinion. His fastball is barely touches 90 miles an hour. He has a below average strikeout rate right now. He was with the Red Sox, and then he was picked up by the Reds, and it's all been in AAA. He's got a 3.40 ERA, 72 strikeouts, 15 walks, and 1.20 WHIP. Obviously, you want to get some arms for that bullpen, but you're looking at this guy. He's old. He hasn't touched the MLB yet, and his stuff's really not that great. I don't know if you can really justify giving away Zach Littell with his value for just this guy from the Reds. Maybe you could have done a little bit more there, asked for a little bit more. I'm not too excited about that. Then we get to Fiducia, man. He's also 28. He's been in the Dodgers system for a minute now. He's been in AAA since 2022. He's somebody that they really wanted, though. Even listening to the broadcast tonight, Eric Neander saying, he was somebody they were targeting and they really liked his stuff. Some notes on him. He struggles to control the running game per the scouts, but he's still a plus receiving catcher. Obviously, I think it's a little bit, the flags come up a little bit when you see 28, been in AAA for a long time. I get the argument. In the Dodger system, he's been behind Will Smith, Dalton Rushing, etc. So he hasn't really got his moment. I think that's kind of thing that the Rays are banking on. He hasn't really got his moment. In 1,200 plate appearances in AAA, he's got a 277 average. This season, 290 average, 9 home runs, 52 RBIs, and an 866 OPS. So, I mean, he's clearly hitting in AAA. We're hoping to see something in the bigs because as we get to a little bit, there's more than likely he will be playing in the big leagues this season for the Tampa Bay Rays. But overall, man, I'm not sure about it. I'm really not sure about this. You get in all the trades, with the three team trade, you get two 28-year-old prospects. One of them, numbers aren't great. The other one hasn't really proved himself. Hopefully he ends up doing good. But you lose out. You don't really lose out on much with Ben Rortvedt. I'd say Paul Gervais is an interesting one. I do like his pitching mechanics. I think he could be solid. But he goes to the Dodgers, so this will be kind of a wait and see with Fiducia if he ends up being the catcher that they expect him to be. But for now, honestly, I'm going to give it a C-. I'm going to give it a C-. I think you could have gotten a better return for Littell, and you're just banking on a lot of stuff to work out for these prospects to make something happen. But yeah, again, thank you, Zach Littell. I think we all on the show have really enjoyed covering him and watching him and just seeing his progression. It's a sad goodbye if you haven't watched his interview. I would go watch that, man. Might make you tear up a little bit. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for being a Ray, giving it your all. That's all we can say. Then we get to trade deadline day. What are the Rays going to do? What's going to happen? We talked about it earlier on the show. Jose Caballero gets traded mid-game to the team they're playing against. And they get outfielder Everson Pereira from the New York Yankees. Really sad to see Caballero go, man. This guy, he's a classic utility guy. We love utility guys here at TB3. And this season, he's gone above and beyond. Played everything but catcher. Every position but catcher. And he played phenomenally well, and all of them graded out very well defensively in every position. Not really so much pitcher, but that doesn't really count. But I'm kind of excited about this one with this outfielder, Everson Pereira. He's 24. He at one time was in the top 100 MLB prospects, but he's dealt with a couple injuries through his career. He kind of had an injury-shortened season with 2020. As we all know, in the minor league system, that wasn't the best for development. And then last year, he had to get some repairs done on his UCL. So some injuries have held him back in his career. But this guy can really play. He's hitting 251, 19 home runs, 52 RBIs at 855 OPS in AAA for the Yankees. He can play all the outfield spots, so that's some much needed depth that the Rays desperately need. So I think this guy can do something for the Rays. He has a 50% hard hit rate in AAA, which is just phenomenal. I give this trade an A. I give it an A. It really sucks to see Caballero go, but I think you got a really good prospect in return from the Yankees. And obviously with the shortstop, we can talk about Taylor Walls all we want. He's a gold glove shortstop, man. Offensively not there, but defensively he's definitely up there. And you got Ha-Seong Kim. Hopefully they can keep him long term and he can stay healthy. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you're losing much, say, with Caballero. He is just a great guy, though. Sad to see him go. The Rays weren't done, though, on the trade deadline. We have a couple more trades to go through. This one, man, the Rays would trade Curtis Mead, right-hander Duncan David, and right-hander Ben Peoples for right-handed starting pitcher Adrian Hauser from the White Sox. First off, before I even talk about this trade at all, man, see you later, Curtis Mead. See you later. Good riddance. This one, I saw a lot of mixed results on Twitter over this one. A lot of people kind of say he never got a shot. He needed more attempts, but it's like, come on, man. He's been struggling for a solid 3 years, and it's not like his numbers in AAA were that great either. I mean, you can't sit and give these guys chance after chance, and I just think, that was it. I think the writing was on the wall. It just wasn't the fit here, but that's just one less guy we have to worry about on our team, in my opinion. I think it's honestly a W just getting rid of him and getting somebody in return for him too. I think that's the biggest thing. We got to look at the big picture here. We got somebody for Curtis Mead. Somebody who can help us a lot more than he could. Anyways, let's talk about Adrian Hauser. He's 32. He's a little up there in age, but didn't have the greatest season with the Mets last year where he was. Was kind of, jobless throughout the winter. Got picked up by the Rangers for like a minor league deal, but he was really working this offseason, allegedly. Noticeably so much that he signed a deal with the White Sox on May 20th. And he saw his numbers increase. Even, speed on his fastball went up. And in just 11 games with the White Sox this season, he's got 2.10 ERA, 6-2 with 47 strikeouts, and a 1.22 WHIP. I think, his biggest thing is preventing barrels. Teams piecing him up and stuff like that. You're just not going to see that happen. This move, man, could be one of the most underrated moves of the trade deadline. This guy could really be special for the Rays. I mean, he is a replacement right now for Littell, obviously, to kind of jump in that fifth starter role. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, but you never know with the rest of the season how it goes. If he continues to play hot like he was with the White Sox of all teams, maybe the Rays make a deal with him at the end of the year. Probably could get him, pretty cheaply, in my opinion. So that's a move I'm really excited for, and I think this is going to be, I'll say it again, one of the most underrated moves on the trade deadline for any team in the league. Talk about the other prospects, though, that the Rays gave up. David, he's 25. He's got a funky low arm slot. But, scouts are saying At most, he could be a possible back-end starter. So there's kind of some question marks whether he'll really pan out in the league. So again, don't think you're really losing out on anything there. Peoples, he's 24. He could end up being a solid reliever. He's got some good stuff. So that might be somebody that the Rays miss out on. But overall, if this Hauser thing works out and he's dominant, I mean, just the numbers in 11 games, man. If we had that for a whole season, I think anybody in the league would take those numbers, right? So, yeah, and this trade, I mean, I'm giving it an A. I am giving it a solid A. Last trade, though, this one, I couldn't even believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when this guy was sent down to AAA, only like a mere week ago. But here he is, getting dealt right at the buzzer. The Rays would trade starting pitcher Taj Bradley to the Minnesota Twins for setup man Griffin Jax. Again, some mixed opinions and beliefs and views from this trade. Again, I think it's the same thing with Meade. He's had plenty of opportunities to show himself. Obviously, Taj in July last year was something special. He really has the stuff to do it, but he's just never put it all together. He's never really gotten, over that inconsistent, over his inconsistencies. And I think, once again, the Rays just had enough. Home runs have been a huge issue for him, too. Can't keep it in the park. And, I think it was just time. I really think it was time. Him and Meade, man. You can't give these guys 100 chances. And when they're not showing you good stuff, can't hold on to them. You got to get rid of them. Let's talk about Griffin Jax, though. Setup man for the Twins. I think a lot of people are saying, he's got a 4.50 ERA. He's not as dominant. But I still think, that's not true. I still think he is very dominant, and he's going to be very good in the Rays bullpen, especially setting up Fairbanks, and you get those back ends. You got Clevenger now, Griffin Jax, Pete Fairbanks. 7, 8, 9, man, that looks really, really good. This guy, though, despite the ERA, he's top 10 in strikeouts and swinging strike rate in the MLB in both of them. This season, in 46 innings pitched, he's got 72 strikeouts and a 1.28 whip. He's got a wicked fastball. It ticks up to 97 miles an hour, but I think his two best pitches are his sweeper and his changeup. And one thing that the Rays love, man, he's got 2 seasons of control after this one. Think this is a slam dunk. It was just player for player. You're getting something that you desperately need. And I don't think you're going to be, I don't think you're going to have troubles not having Taj Bradley in the starting rotation for years to come. I think the Rays got somebody really awesome, and, they addressed a need. I have to give this move an A as well. But that's it for your Rays trade deadline. And I think, the good thing is it's not like last year. I think last year really turned out to be kind of a huge L. Big L for the Rays. Because all those guys, Randy, Jason Adam, Isak Paredes, they're all stars and playing very well at their new teams. And you look at what the Rays got. Time will tell on some of the prospects, but I think it would have been the smart move not to sell as much as they did. I know they were in some contract issues and payroll issues that would eventually bite them, but I think this is a way to go. This is a way to go where the team's at right now. You're obviously not in the wild card spot. You're not fighting for the division right now. You're way behind in that aspect, but you're still in the wild card race. You added, you subtracted, but you got guys that will help out right now. You solidify that bullpen. You got another arm for your starting rotation, a guy who I think can fit in Littell's spot pretty well, and this could be a big move for the future as far as him, staying with the team, seeing how well he does. That's Adrian Hauser. So yeah, I think you get some guys back, some guys healthy. everybody, start just playing a little bit well. Just really that bullpen, man. You look at the Rays in, the month of July, they got plus, they went 7-18, but they still have a plus 53 run differential on the year. That's almost hard to do, to go 7-18 in a month, still batting as well as they were. So I think if the bullpen can just lock in, we have a chance. We really have a chance for a wild card spot, and I truly believe that. After all these moves, though, just have to go through it. Obviously, Griffin Jax reported today. Fiducia reported. Ha-Seong Kim was reinstated off the IL. Tristan Gray was recalled from AAA Durham. Joe Rock was optioned to AAA Durham. Arando's placed on the 10-day IL. Matt Dice was DFA'd. Pereira was sent to AAA. And obviously, Yandy played the night, as I mentioned before. Simpson's still day-to-day. So that's the moves as of now. Man, let me see here. We'll just we'll take a break real quick. We'll talk about how this game ended up. Yeah, they lost 5-0. They lost 5-0 to the Dodgers, but some new faces in. Getting accustomed. Some injuries, obviously. Shane Baz, 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. Who else came in? Ian Seymour, 2 innings, 1 hitter, no earned runs. Garrett Clevinger, clean inning. Mason Montgomery, clean inning too. So really, Shane Baz, just a rough outing for him. Bats didn't really do a whole lot. Yandy Diaz 0 for 4. Ha-Seong Kim 1 for 4, gets a hit back. First day back. Morel 2 for 4. Wow. Johnny DeLuca 2 for 4. He's been playing pretty well. I think, as we wrap up Rays talk here, that's kind of my player of the week here since coming back from the injured list and his rehab stint. He batting .308. This was before tonight. 3 RBIs and a stolen base. A huge triple against the Yankees. So yeah, Johnny DeLuca, man. Let's keep it going. He's mashing. And it looks like he continued to do that tonight against the Dodgers. So he is my Rays player of the week. Also, just to note that 7-18 record is the worst month for any month in Cash's 11 years with the Rays. Don't want to start anything there. I'll let you keep your opinions. We'll save that for another day. Don't want to start any narratives there, but just had to make a note of that. That's it on the Rays. Comment down below. Maybe give us your grades. Give us your grades on how you think the Rays did at the trade deadline. Are we cooked? Is the season over? Is it time to wave the white flag, or are they going to start playing some better baseball soon? Because there sure is plenty of games. For this team to make a run, do something special. You just got to lock in. So yeah, comment down below what you think. Give us your thoughts. We love seeing feedback. Really love seeing it. In all honesty, I love reading the comments on all our Instagram posts, YouTube, etc. I love seeing it. So keep it up, guys. You guys are the best. We love you. Thank you for listening. If you are right now, goes a long way. Before I wrap up, though, I guess just want to talk a little bit about the Buccaneers. Fire the cannons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have just completed a week of training camp. I can't believe, it's flying by already. Already had the Hall of Fame game, the Lions and Chargers. Football's right around the corner, and the Bucs are going to be playing a game next Saturday. Can you believe it? Yeah. I can't wait for Colby and Joel to get back, so we can talk about it probably next week. We'll get a little deeper dive in. Just wanted to read some headlines, some of the stuff going on in camp. If you haven't really been aware of what's going on, Baker has a hand contusion right now, but according to Todd Bowles in his press conference, they doesn't seem worried about it. Just giving him some time to recover. Don't think it's anything to be concerned of, but just have to notice there. Cade Otton, he's dealing with a hamstring injury. I think he'll be fine as well. Didn't really hear of any big concerns on that, if that'll be a big setback. Seems like the team's really loving Josh Grizzard. I was listening to an interview today with Luke Gedeke. He really likes what Grizzard's doing. His twist on the offense and his schemes. Seems like a lot of players are buying in, and that's good to hear. I guess today in the red zone, he's big on fades. In their red zone period for the day, he's big on fades. So that's to Mike Evans. That's not a bad idea. Keep feeding it to him. We love to see that. So far, Hassan Reddick's been looking great, looking solid. I guess him and Gedeke have been battling in one-on-ones and in different 11-on-11 periods. So we love to see that. Iron sharpens iron, as they say. You want guys making each other better, and you love the competitiveness, man. So yeah, that's really it for the Bucks. Not a whole lot right now, but we will always keep you updated on anything regarding the Bucks, Bolts, Rays, Bulls, Seminoles, Gators. We got it all, man. We really got it all. That's it for the Bucks. This is the last segment of the show. Thank you for listening this long. If you have, I posted on Instagram earlier. Send in your comments on the team, maybe any questions you have. And we only got one response. We only got one response to that. If you sent one while we were filming, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. But again, I love the feedback. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. We're the true voice of the fan, of the Tampa Bay fan, and we want your voices heard. So next time we do it, feel free. Just spit it out, man. Give us your thoughts. Give us your takes. We'd love to hear. We love hearing from the fans. But we'll just go through this one question. This is from Evo Shens 1. Evo Shens 1 on Instagram says, do you think that the new ownership will sign some big free agents? I'm not sure, but I think we all hope so. I know J.P. Peterson said back in, I think the 14th of July, that the new ownership, Zapolsky, he wants to expand the payroll. And obviously, I'm all for that. I am all for spending money, and I hope he does something like that. JPP also said, though, that there would be a huge move at the deadline, possibly like Ronald Acuna. That definitely didn't happen. So again, take what you hear with a grain of salt about some of this stuff until we get pen to paper, man. That's really the big thing. Until we get this deal done, is the transaction's been processed. Zapolsky is a new owner of the Rays, and we can start talking about this. But I think, a good sign is that the Rays weren't complete sellers at the deadline like they were last year, making you think that, when new ownership comes in, that they already have the core together, and then you're just adding on pieces to make the team better. So I'd say, if you're wondering if they'll get some big free agents, I'd look right there. That gives me some hope. You got the core. You build around it. And again, if it's true that they are going to increase the payroll, then yeah, I'd say signs are looking good. But I can't definitively say yes or no the Rays are going to be big buyers in the offseason. But we'll see. Let's get through the season first. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's shock the world. And go Rays, man. But that's it. That is my time. The first ever episode, being by myself, doing it solo. Let me know how I did. I probably said way too many times. I probably said a couple too many times as well. But it was interesting. It was interesting doing it by myself. I keep looking like people are here. It's just my friends, Casper and whatnot. But I'm excited to get my boys back. Can't wait for the next episode. Love doing this. But yeah, this has been the Will Hates Everything show. TB3, have a great night.